A few weeks ago, I completed a series about childhood games that I grew up with and how they more or less affected my gaming and collecting habits all through up until now. So that was pretty cool to go through and reminisce and see some of the things that kind of built the kid that I was then, and even in some cases how I'm an adult now. And I felt a little unfulfilled because as I was looking through my collection after that, I was kind of like, there are other games that were really important from when I was younger that I didn't have a chance to put in those videos because I kind of marked them as like PC, PS2, and then Game Boy. But I also had a DS growing up, which you probably saw in the handheld handheld console collection. And I also had a Wii, and Wii was like, I think Wii was released 2005, so I was still a kid then, but it didn't quite match the vibe I was going for. So what I'm going to do in this video is sort of catch up the rest of the time from the PS2 and Game Boy Advance days all up until now. So that sounds like a lot of time, and it kind of made me sad because there's a lot of games that I haven't really played to the point that I felt like they were influential. But we're going to talk about a good handful of games that I either played a lot in my adolescence or have played a lot now as an adult. So I think that's a good thing to go off of. Something's not very surprising, something's pretty popular games, so no surprises here. But it did tell me that I need to play more games and branch out a little bit more. But without further ado, let's just get into a few games that I found interest in within the past, 15-ish years. So a big one is one that I've played, everybody has played at least once in their life. And it's one of the most influential games of all time. You played it before, but let me explain. So Tetris on the NES. If you didn't play Tetris on the NES, you've played Tetris somewhere on some console, because there is no console that doesn't have Tetris. So Tetris, if you are somehow unfamiliar, is entirely a puzzle game, probably the most famous puzzle game ever, and it speaks for itself. But a couple weeks ago, probably a month ago at this point, Summoning Salt, a guy who does really, really good videos on speedrun history, he put out a video about Tetris World Records, like an hour-and-a-half movie at that point about Tetris World Records. And I was like, I will never be as good as some of those people because some of those people are insane. Like, I will never reach those levels. But I was like, I could probably do better than what I can currently do. And every time I pick this up just to pass some time, I would always start on level 1, everything is slow, and just work my way up until I can't go anymore. But then I learned about the scoring and how if you start at a higher level, your scoring just naturally gets better because you're clearing more. And then I understood the importance to actually getting Tetrises, I guess, right? 4-line clears. And I said, I think I can do better than my best. No idea what my best was before, but I said I can do better than that. So what I ended up doing is cracking 100,000 points, which, again, if you're really good at Tetris, these numbers aren't all that exciting. But to me, this was pretty influential for about a month's worth of time. So I cracked 100,000. I was like, cool, my first 100,000, I'm proud of that. But as I played a little bit more and started at higher levels, I was like, I can definitely do better than that. I could definitely beat 100,000. And on Memorial Day, I cracked 195,000. And I was like, 200,000 is so close. I can do that. And it took me a couple weeks. It took me a little tinkering. It took me a lot of practice just to be able to play up at a higher level consistently. And finally, one night, I guess about a week or two ago, I don't know if I can flash the picture on screen. Let's see if it flashes here, if my editing skills are that good. But I finally crossed 200,000. It wasn't on Memorial Day. It was a couple days after, a couple weeks after. Wait, what is it? Recording this in June. Yeah, it was about 2 weeks ago. So sometime between end of May and late June, sometime in June. And I just magically went down to level 8, started at level 8 instead of trying to start at level 9, which I was trying to do because I knew that was the best chance I had. I decided to just go down a level because I was frustrated, and it happened. And 200,000 points. I was so excited. Not quite a pop-off, but I was like, okay, I can finally take a break. One of my friends said, you could probably break 250,000. And after I broke 200,000, I was like, I need a break. I need to get away from this game. So I'm taking a break from Tetris. I'll probably never go back to it, but maybe at some point it would be fun to go and try and get 300,000. But I need a break. I can't play Tetris that much. The people that can play Tetris all day long, props to you. It ain't me, but even though it's not that impressive, 200,000 is pretty impressive to me. So, game that's been around forever, but I found a lot of value in it as an adult, if even if it was in just the last few weeks. Another game that's kind of another weird one, definitely of all the games here, is probably the most obscure. Yeah, on this list, it's definitely the most obscure game. I like Monopoly. I really like Monopoly. There's a lot of people who don't like Monopoly because it's a crappy game and it makes you hate your friends, and I understand that. But in terms of being a hoarder, when it came to collecting, I was like, well, I really like Monopoly, so naturally I have to get all the Monopoly games. And that made me stumble across this game, Monopoly Party, released for the GameCube and also the PS2. I have the GameCube one here because I play this one a little bit more. And this is a game I only got probably 2 or 3 years ago. It's not an expensive game, but this game is probably the ultimate way of playing Monopoly, in my opinion. So, Monopoly Party has 2 modes, Monopoly and Monopoly Party. And Monopoly Party is just a different way of playing Monopoly whereas instead of everybody taking turns, everybody rolls at once, and how the game figures out hierarchy of the order in which things happen is beyond me. But that's one mode you can play, and that's the mode I've been playing. But it wasn't until I played like 200 rounds of Monopoly Party that I finally realized, oh my god, regular Monopoly is here. And you can play regular Monopoly. But here's the kick. It's not that impressive that I can play Monopoly. What I think is most impressive is that you have total control of house rules. Very, very few people play Monopoly by all the original official rules, and a lot of people have house rules, their own edits to the game. And this game, Monopoly Party, is the only one, at least that I know, that I've played, has total control of house rules and edits you might actually want to make. I could be totally wrong. Maybe I was doing something wrong. But Monopoly on the Switch, you only had options for which house rules you turn on. Like, if you choose one, you can't choose the others. This game, you can choose all of them if you want them. So simple things like free parking jackpot, or landing on go, or paying people if they're in jail, stuff like that, all of that's available here. So when I say the ultimate way of playing Monopoly, this is definitely the best way to play Monopoly, in my opinion, if you're not going to play the board game version, right? The physical board game version. So if you ever stumble across Monopoly Party on PS2 or GameCube, definitely pick it up, because this is a game that I don't know what I want to play. I don't know what adventure I want to get into. I'll just play Monopoly Party for like a week to wind down at night. So strongly recommend. And another game that did not expect to like, but because collecting brought me to it, I like it a lot. So that's a good one. Going back in time, right? Tetris is a game I played, just within the past few weeks in seriousness. Monopoly Party last few years in seriousness. But the rest of the games here are games that one way or another had an effect on me during my teenagerdom, or at least maybe like adolescence. So the next one is NHL 22, but I'm going to extend this to just NHL in general. The first NHL game I played, I believe, was either NHL 11 or NHL 12 on Xbox 360. I am drawing a blank as to which one. I believe it's the one with Steven Stamkos on it, and I didn't bother to look it up. I think it's NHL 12. So NHL 12 was the first time I played an NHL game. I'm a huge hockey fan, and me and my brother and some of my friends, we would get together and play NHL because we're big hockey fans, and it is actually a really, really good way of playing hockey at home without any sort of gimmicks, right? It's just playing hockey you play as NHL players, and that's really exciting. The one I probably have the most attachment to would be NHL 14 on the Xbox 360. I don't think it was the last NHL on 360, but it is the one with the greatest goaltender of all time, Martin Brodeur, on it, and that's the one that me and some friends were like, this is the most refined way to play this game. And kind of the big thing with yearly sports games is that it's the same game every time with different rosters, which is definitely true. But I feel like the gameplay peaked at NHL 14. Maybe I got a little bit of nostalgia goggles on, maybe because it actually is, and then there hasn't really been a big upgrade since then. And NHL 14 is probably the best way to play it. I don't have a 360 anymore. I don't have a PS3. I don't intend to get either of them. I should get that game just for the collection because it's important to me. But I will continue to buy modern day NHLs if I want to play them. Notice that I don't have NHL 24. Is NHL 24 even the most recent one? I don't even know. I can't remember if it comes out, like 22 comes out before the 2022-2023 season. Oh, I don't remember. Whatever is the newest NHL, I don't have. I haven't played it in a long enough time to warrant going to get it. But my guess is that the next time I want to go through an NHL binge, I'll probably go get the newest one. But for now, having just NHL 22, the most recent one that I've played, is good enough. So yeah, definitely NHL games are really good. I would love if they came to Switch. MLB came to Switch. MLB The Show came to Switch. So if NHL came to Switch, I probably would buy it immediately. But then you're starting to get into problems with PlayStation games playing on Switch and performance and stuff. So that's not my super worry right now. There's a ton of other games I can play. But yeah, NHL, definitely a really big game that I would definitely have bought every single year since NHL 14. Probably most years since NHL 14, but obviously not since NHL 22. So that's a good one. Another good game that I loved playing growing up, it was definitely a big party game for us when I was growing up, like me and my friends, is Guitar Hero 3, Legends of Rock. So I don't think I've talked so much about rhythm games ever, but yeah, this was like the first real rhythm game that I ever really spent time with. And yeah, this is a good one. Definitely the one that most people know. It was the most popular on the Wii for sure, and it's the one I spent the most time with. So I don't think it needs much of an introduction. Everything from like the Dragon Force song at the end that would eventually shape my current music taste because I freaking love Dragon Force. I love power metal. So that definitely came from here. If it wasn't for this game, I probably would never have found Dragon Force. But yeah, this is a nice refined version of the game. Of course, now you can play Clone Hero and on the PC. Modern way of playing Guitar Hero in general, but that requires more setup than my small brain is capable of. So yeah, that probably won't happen. But also, this game is just so classic that I could play these songs over and over again. Some things I learned to do, I only ever got up to hard mode, and I'm not perfect at hard mode. Expert I definitely can't do, but like on any given day, if I probably wanted to 100% the game, I could probably do it on medium in a day. And yeah, if I ever go to the arcade, if I ever go to like Dave & Buster's, or places that have Guitar Hero 3 on arcade, I'll flex and like play the guitar behind my back or between my legs, or like behind my head, I should say. So yeah, that's cool. I like this game a lot. It's probably the high point of the Guitar Hero series because every game after that was not nearly as popular. I know some future games in the Guitar Hero series had like Rush songs on it. I was a big Rush fan at the time. So playing like 2112 in its entirety on like Guitar Hero Warriors of Rock, I think. Yeah, that's like perfect. But this game, definitely the start to that craze, if you will, or a craze for me at the very least. I know this game isn't so expensive because of how widespread it was, but some of the other ones are pretty expensive. Warriors of Rock and some other ones, even some like expansion discs are really, really expensive. So we'll see if I ever get around to it. If not, it's kind of a pain in the butt to like set up a Wii guitar at any given time. So I won't be surprised if I don't play it anytime soon, but still, game that I found really, really important from back then. So one more before we talk about a series of games that all go hand in hand, but the next one is probably the game I've played most on this entire list, Mario Super Sluggers. I like baseball, I like Mario, and this game is it. I wasn't a GameCube kid, like I talked about in those videos. I was a PS2 kid, and I never had a GameCube, so I never got a chance to play Mario Superstar Baseball. I have it now. The only time I've ever tested it, I didn't really know what I was doing, so that's a problem. But this game, this was like an entire summer. There was one summer I went or one friend and I, we hung out every single day. So, summertime before I could work, before anybody my age could work, it was just like, hey, you want to come over? Okay, we went over. So we would go over to his house. He would come over to my house. We'd sleep over kind of just on a whim. And this game was at every single time we hung out, to the point that I was told that we can't play this anymore. I was very obsessed with it. I didn't have this game, so it was only like every time I went to his house to play it. This was a summertime. My birthday's not until November, so I didn't have a chance to get it until November, and by then I was kind of already like, I don't need to play this anymore. But yeah, I was obsessed with this game. This game is so good. When I tell you that I would pop off on a Nintendo Direct if I saw Mario Super Sluggers or Mario Baseball, I definitely would, because this game is so good. The story mode, it's like a day's worth of time, but then the amount of time you get just playing baseball with Mario characters is fantastic. It's an awesome game. I strongly recommend, if you like baseball at all, go play this game, because it's like top of the line for Mario sports games, especially when we see now how not great some Mario sports games are. For example, like Mario Strikers Battle League. This game is it. Go play this game for sure. So the next series is one that kind of fits somewhere between adolescent and adult, because when I, kind of like Mario Super Sluggers, when I was growing up, I didn't personally have this game. It was like our friend group had it. I didn't personally have it. So every time we went to somebody's house, we would play it. And it wasn't until like something changed in college, maybe like when I started collecting and I had the chance to buy these games for myself, did I really start to appreciate how good these games are. To just break what series it is, it's Mario Kart. So I know that's like super basic, that, oh, everybody's played Mario Kart, why is this so special? Because I didn't really have a chance to play it on my own when I was growing up, with the exception of Mario Kart DS. This was the only Mario Kart game I had growing up, and this is a good one because I remember going to like summer camp, and everybody had Mario Kart DS, or through DS Download Play, anybody could play. So that was a big thing to like have a bunch of tournaments with this, but this is the only way I could experience this game when everybody else was playing Mario Kart Wii. I didn't have Mario Kart Wii. I didn't get it until I started collecting, when at the time it was like a $20 game, and I was like, oh, that's it, let's do it. And yeah, the rest is history. I absolutely love Mario Kart Wii. Now, a couple summers ago, I think post-pandemic or maybe within the pandemic, I was like, I want to play through Mario Kart Wii. I want to unlock everything. When I tell you it was hell, it was hell. I decided I would unlock everything using motion controls, just using regular steering, and that was the biggest mistake I could have made. That drove me absolutely nuts, for sure. But I did it. I did all the time trials. I did at least one star on every circuit. No, not every circuit. Every cup, on every difficulty, to unlock absolutely everything in this game. And it was crazy doing it with steering. It was the worst. So when I finally beat it, I was like, okay, thank God, everything is unlocked. Now, if I ever want to play Mario Kart Wii, everything's there already. Until about a year or two ago, I was like, I want to do that again, but let's do this smart. Let's do it with a Wii Classic controller. And so I ended up doing it that way instead, where I played through it all again. Took me way less time to do with a Classic controller, not having to worry about the fickleness. I don't know. The weirdness of using steering. So that was a way better way to experience this game, finally doing it with steering. So if I were to ever go back to a game, Mario Kart Wii is probably one of them. But that's not where my exposure to the Mario Kart series ends, because my favorite game in the series is coming soon. It's probably not a surprise. This isn't my favorite. This is like third to last game. Mario Kart 7. So I only got a 3DS not that long ago. It was in the last month's in review. I think I got it back in like April. But I've had Mario Kart 7 because I got it for cheap somewhere else. And so I was finally waiting to play it. And then I finally played it when I got the 3DS, just as the way of seeing what the 3DS was capable of. I played through like the 50cc cups on Mario Kart 7, and I was like, okay, I get the idea. I'll move on, because I definitely wanted to play Pokemon. So that was my initial goal until I realized I got to play Gen 5. But that's a different story. If the video hasn't been put out already, maybe it will be put out soon about Pokemon. But yeah, Mario Kart 7 was a good way of doing it. I liked the game, and still not the biggest one, Mario Kart 8. So the same place I got Mario Kart 7 for super cheap, I also got Mario Kart 8 and a Wii U for super duper cheap. And just trying to play things on the Wii U, nothing really stuck, which is kind of like the anthem to the Wii U. But I was like, let me play Mario Kart 8. because I didn't have a Switch at the time. This was pre-getting a Switch. This is probably 2021, now that I'm thinking about it. So I played Mario Kart 8 because it's like basically modern Mario Kart, but on the Wii U. And I played through it, and I loved it. It was a great way to play Mario Kart in the most modern way possible at the time. It was probably right after I played Mario Kart Wii, now that I think about it, and I had a lot of time. Tracks are great. Tracks are awesome, and that's exactly why Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is my favorite Mario Kart. So, yeah, I mean, it kind of speaks for itself. I played it on the Wii U, finally got a Switch. The experience is better on Switch. There's the DLC, obviously. Yeah, I was a Mario Kart buff for a solid few months there. So much so that me and my friends made like a time trial league amongst ourselves, so that was fun. I made sure that I got the DLC and played through everything the day of. And yeah, there's no better way to play Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I'm assuming that on the Switch's successor, we're getting a Mario Kart 9. In my opinion, I think a cool way to do the next Mario Kart would be to do like a Smash type of Mario Kart where there's characters from everywhere. And a friend said it should be called Mario Kart Crossroads because you're like crossing crossovers, right? That would be perfect, but that's yet to be seen. But definitely a really good cap from my days of playing Mario Kart DS as a youngin at summer camp to now playing Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and I thoroughly enjoy this game. This is like my go-to game while I'm traveling. Just play a few cups or get on the internet and just play for fun, or just play with friends. A couple times I've done like full 48 track games with friends where it'll just random every time. I did it once with my sister too. That was fun. So yeah, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, definitely the hallmark to a series that's been around forever, but a game I have spent a lot of time in as an adult in more ways than one. So yeah, that's all the games that I think are, in a sense, honorable mentions in this epilogue to the childhood games series. So yeah, I'm sure you played a lot of these games. There's some that I'm missing too. I know like on DS, I was also super nostalgic for like Pokemon Diamond, but that was kind of like just outside childhood in terms of like the very young childhood and somewhere in like preteen. So kind of hard to quantify that, but those games would also be in here too. But these are definitely ones that I don't think I would find another opportunity to talk about otherwise. So yeah, I hope you saw some games you like in here, especially if it came to like Monopoly Party or Mario Super Sluggers. I hope you give those a chance seeing them here. But yeah, thanks so much for sticking around. Thanks for watching, and bye!